All right, so continuing part two. Jason's got his backup. He's got his buddy to go with him. There's a bit of a discussion between them, quasi argument of, is this safe? They decide they'll be all right with the firearms, and they continue on. They make it back to the point of the airstrip with his little porta boat, and they're both hiking over. And as they get to this place the following day, I should say, there's an airplane at the strip. And so as they come back and get up onto this airstrip, they go and they see a guy. They want to talk to him. They go over to him and they ask, hey, you know, we heard something. He saw something yesterday over here. Have you encountered anything? The guy kind of chuckled and laughed and said, no one ever comes over this way. And as a matter of fact, I have. I've seen this thing jump in that pond over there and never come back up again, and I'll see it the next day. So they start discussing with each other, well, it must be going underground, or it must have another spot it comes out, or whatever. It sparked a memory about what the elder shared with me when he was dealing with those issues on the Kvichak River, where it dived into Beaver Pond and then was in the grove of trees. So there's precedence there anyway. And so the pilot said, hey, be careful, don't shoot it if you don't have to, things of this nature, and he had to go on about his way. So they went down to that little area where him and his wife had viewed it the day before, and nothing's going on. And his buddy's starting to really think that, you know, he's getting punked. He thinks it's some kind of elaborate hoax to tease him, and he's not really too happy about it. And Jason reassures his friend, hey, look, this ain't a joke. This thing is down here. I don't know that pilot, so just, you know, bear with me. So they sat there for a handful of hours, and then they heard a loud gurgling sound and kind of like a water kaploosh. And so they watched the water bellow out in this spot next to shore of this little pond, and out pops this thing, and it's the hunched back, and nothing is visible. And immediately his buddy is like putting a bead on it with his rifle, and Jason's like, put your gun down, let's watch this thing. So as they're watching, it does the same thing. It raises up, broad, no neck, just, you know, kind of a hump in the center of its broad back, and this thing started raising a hand up and smacking into the water and pulling out like this grassy type of material or whatever, and was flinging it up onto the bank. Now they're watching this thing, and they're just transfixed on whatever this thing is doing. And he said they must have watched it for about an hour before his buddy stands up and yells at this thing. As soon as his buddy stands up and yells at this thing, it turns around, stands up all the way, and he said it must have been out of the water by about 5 to 6 feet. They didn't know how deep that pond was at that point, but it was obvious this thing was a lot bigger than it appeared initially. And so they immediately freaked the fuck out. His buddy is gone. His buddy bails up that trail. He goes, fuck that, runs off. Jason follows, kind of looking over his shoulder as he does to make sure he's not being followed. Nothing followed him. And as they get back up to the airstrip, the pilot had already taken off, and they were standing on the airstrip, and his buddy is walking in a circle. He lit a cigarette and is trying to calm down. He goes, dude, that shouldn't be there. That should not be there, and we need to fucking go. We can't be here, dude. There's something wrong here. We can't be here. And as they're having this little discussion, really, because they were both pretty emotional, they heard a gargling scream. And it dawned, the whole time they're sitting there, they were so transfixed, they forgot about the little fucking handy cam in the pocket and all that shit. Well, it came back to them as the scream is happening that they hear. So Jason gets out the little handy cam, takes his 45, and he goes back down the trail to try to record. Now, when he gets to that little landing they were at, he notices a big wet footprint. Just a wet outline, nothing imprinted in the ground. And once he saw that, he dropped the camera and bolted. This thing had come out of the water, went up to where they were, and is somewhere in the vicinity of this airstrip. So he gets back up to his buddy. He goes, hey, it's somewhere over here. So they immediately decide to get the hell out of Dodge. He has not been back for his handycam. Anyone in that area finds it, send me an email. He wasn't able to record a thing, and his buddy now won't go to the area with them. Just trying to put yourself in these people's footsteps is really hard to do without experiencing it yourself. You really don't want it. I know you do, but you really don't, because once you do, you can't. There's no going back from that. There's no reset to go, oh, okay, I don't have to worry about this anymore. It doesn't work that way. It's when you see one, when you hear one screaming, you will never be able to go into the woods with the same kind of just whatever attitude. You just don't. It's impossible. It's one thing to worry about bears. It's another thing to worry about, wolves and all this stuff. But once you see one of these things and have it scream at you, or you just see it run off, there's no fix. There's no going back to a peaceful mindset in the woods ever. Anyone who says they're comfortable in the woods after an experience like that, I believe they're full of shit, because there's always gonna be a something within you that is screaming, don't do it. So I don't know. I want to thank Jason and Jennifer for sharing, and again, wish everyone happy Father's Day, to all those dads out there. And sorry I had to do this in 2 parts. Stupid GoPro. It breaks it up into 8-minute and some odd second segments, and my editing software, I can't get it to do its shit. So this will be a 2-parter, and thanks for joining me, and we'll see you on the next one.